Shivamogga in association with IEEE Consort, IEEE Mangalore subsection and Ujjwala VS, your host for the day. I request the dignitaries to come on to the dais. First and foremost, I am glad to invite Dr. Y. Vijay Kumar, President of the program, Principal Jnnce Shivamogga, General Chair Mpcit 2024, onto the dais. Welcome, sir. Now I request our Principal sir to assist the guests to their respective positions. It is now the turn of Shri T. Srinivas, Professor, IAC Bangalore, Chair, IEEE Bangalore subsection, to come on to the dais. Welcome, sir. May I invite Shri T.S. Narayan Rao, President, National Education Society, Shivamogga, onto the dais. I would like to invite Dr. Gandhi, Deakin University, Australia, onto the dais. It's my honor to invite Shri S.N. Nagaraja to be seated on the dais. I invite Dr. Vasudeva, Chair, IEEE Mangalore subsection, General Chair, Mpcit 2024, to be seated on the dais. With equal pleasure, I invite Dr. Manjunatha P., Dean Academics, JNNC Shivamogga, to take your seat. And also invite Dr. S.K. Satyanarayana, Dean R&D, HOD EC Department, Organizing Chair of Mpcit 2024, to come over and take your seat. National Education Society. I would like to invite D.G. Ramesh sir, Treasurer, National Education Society, onto the dais. Welcome, sir. National Education Society was established in the year 1946 by immense sacrifices made by freedom fighters and philanthropists. NES was established with primary motto of giving emphasis on rural education. The mission of NES is to provide quality education at reasonable cost, and it is successful in establishing 39 educational institutions in various fields. JNNC is established in the year 1980 for providing excellent technical and quality education in Malnad region. JNNC is approved by Government of Karnataka and AICTE, affiliated to DTU Belgaum, accredited by NAAC, NBA, and certified by UGC. Around 17K graduates and postgraduates have so far passed out from this college and have been making significant contributions in academic institutions, industry, R&D organizations, and government departments in India and abroad. The main motto of Mpcit 2024 is to bring together innovative, academic, and industrial experts in the field of electronics, telecommunication, computer science, and information technology to a common forum. With this introduction, let us begin the inaugural program of Mpcit 2024. All of you be a round of applause to the beginning of Mpcit 2024. Prayer is not asking, it is a longing of the soul. Let's connect with the higher power and seek blessings. May I invite Mr. Anil, 7th EC, for invocation.
ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗೆ ಹನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗೆ ಹನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ ನಿಮ್ಮೊಳಗೆ ಹನ್ಯಾರಮ್ಮ.
ಭಕ್ತಿ ಭಾವಲಹರಿಯ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. Thank you for spreading positive vibes for the program. It's our duty to extend a gracious welcome to all. Now I invite Dr. S.J. Satyanarayana, Dean R&D, HOD EC and Organizing Chair of Mpcit 2024 to present welcome address. Let us have the pleasure of listening to the opening remarks also. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Today's keynote speaker, T. Shivamogga, Chair of IEEE Bangalore section. Chief guest of today's program, Sri G.S. Narayana, our beloved President of National Education Society. Guests of honor, Professor Gandhi, Professor of Deakin University, Sri S.N. Nagaraja, Secretary of National Education Society, Sri D.G. Ramesh, Treasurer of National Education Society, my friend IEEE Bangalore Subsection Chair, Professor Vasudeva, President of today's inaugural ceremony, our dynamic leader, Dr. Y. Kumar, all directors, life members of NES, members from IEEE Bangalore Subsection, invited speakers, delegates, and my dear students. It's my privilege to present the opening remarks of Mpcit 2024 and welcome the others gathering for this inaugural ceremony. In this occasion, I am happy to share that our department as well as JNNC has a legacy of organizing international conferences which has started during 2013 with the theme of multimedia processing, communication and information technology, Mpcit 2013. And we took a short break and later during 2018 once again we restarted Mpcit 2018. Later during the pandemic, during 2020, we conducted Mpcit in online mode. In 2022, we got a great opportunity to organize the flagship event of IEEE Bangalore Subsection, Discover 2022. Now we are witnessing the international conference, Multimedia Processing, Communication and Information Technology, Mpcit 2024. Just to brief one or two lines about this particular conference, we received it's a overwhelming response from all researchers from our country, 333 papers, record-breaking paper reception. After a thorough blind review, 102 papers were selected for presentation. All of these 60 researchers today they are presenting their research. I wholeheartedly thank IEEE Bangalore section, IEEE Bangalore subsection for associating with us as technical co-sponsor of the event, as well as our camera band is our major sponsors for this particular program. We have 3 invited speakers first day and 3 invited speakers second day, and we will be having 11 paper presentation sessions spread across 2 days, out of which 3 are physical offline and the remaining 8 they will be presenting in the online mode. At this point of time, I really thank Dr. Chengappa for providing the WebEx platform for our online presentation. Also, I thank Dr. Karunagar, who is Pro-Vice Chancellor of Manipal University, Jaipur campus, who have really connected me, Professor Gandhi, and he is here for our inaugural ceremony and Sonia. So in this occasion, I wholeheartedly welcome Dr. Ieee, coming all the way from Bangalore. He is our proud IIT Bangalore section chair also. He will be delivering the keynote address. I welcome you, sir. I am very happy to welcome Professor Gandhi, Professor of Deakin University, Australia. Welcome you, sir. I also welcome Jnnce Shivamogga, President of National Education Society, Chief Guest of today's program. I welcome you, sir. I welcome Ieee, who has based the occasion and he will be always supporting such technical events. I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. I welcome Dignitary, Treasurer of National Education Society, guest of honor of today's program. I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. I also welcome Dr. Chair of IIT Bangalore section, who is witnessing this inaugural ceremony as guest of honor and one of the general chair of the conference, and is helping out of all our conferences. Welcome you, sir, wholeheartedly. I am delighted to welcome our leader, beloved Principal Dr. Ieee, who is presiding over the function. Welcome you, sir. I welcome all the directors of many years, Senior Director to today's program, Director Shivamogga, our life member Ram Prasad sir. Sorry, Guru Prasad, I am very sorry. Life member Sri sir. Sir. our academic advisor of National Education Society. Dr. Mpcit, Dean Academics, who is witnessing the program. I welcome all the delegates who attend the program physically and virtually. I am very happy to place on record that we are streaming our program through YouTube. Welcome all of you present here for providing research deliberations. I welcome Western Media, who is giving wide publicity, who is the press connected person of National PR of National Education Society for providing the wide publicity. I also welcome HODs and faculty members, staff members of JNNCOLLEGE Engineering, who is helping us in organizing such a great event. Last but not least, I welcome my dear colleagues and coordinators of today's program, Dr. Dr. Sheila, non-teaching staff, my dear students who is witnessing the program, and I welcome one and all of you. And let us wish the program a grand success and let us have a great academic environment for the campus. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your gracious welcome, sir. I take this opportunity to welcome Organizing Chief of Mpcit 2024, Dr. Ieee, to this August gathering. Welcome, you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to commence our event by lighting the lamp of knowledge and wisdom. It's our honor to invite the dignitaries to light the lamp. May the divine power bless us all. I request all the audience. Salutations to the life of the land, which brings auspiciousness, health, and prosperity, which restores inimical feelings. Thank you. Thank you all the dignitaries for gracing the occasion with the inauguration. Thank you. Today we have esteemed keynote speaker Ieee is with us. Now I would like to invite Sunati K, Assistant Professor, EC Department, to introduce Ieee.
Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He obtained his BSc in Physics from New Science College, Hyderabad, and ME Integrated and PhD from IISc. He was a postdoctoral research fellow at Toyohashi University of Technology, Japan, during 1992 to 1996. His area of research interest is optical communications, in particular photonic integrated circuits. He published about 150 papers and guided 28 PhD students. He is a member of National Board of Accreditation, NBA. He was the chairman Gate ISC Zone during 2010 to 2013. He is an active volunteer of IEEE Bangalore section and was the chair of IEEE Photonics Society, IEEE Communication Society, Bangalore chapter, and presently he is the chair of IEEE Bangalore section. So I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. In spite of your busy schedule being with us today, we are very happy to have you, sir.
Thank you for the nice introduction, Sumati. We are honored to have keynote speaker of Mpcit 2024, Ieee Shivamogga. Now I request all the dignitaries to join hands to honor Ieee Shivamogga. We express our heartfelt appreciation for gracing us with a small token of love. We are truly fortunate to have you as our keynote speaker. Thank you all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's invite Ieee Shivamogga to enlighten us with your words of wisdom. Over to you, sir.
your talks, write your talks, and so on and so forth. This is, I mean, generally we have to know what happens in conference. The more you think is what we should understand. Not only conference, any activity. Of course, now we are doing that activity. But we should understand what is important, why we are doing this, why we should do, and so on. So the motive is an important point here. We have to start with the self-interest. What is that? I mean, technical part, not exactly professional, technical. In general, first of all, we are interested in one particular area, our interest. I will take the example of some faculty member. He or she is interested in quantum computing, she said. Maria is talking about it. So, that is a basic motive. She would like to pursue that topic. She would like to excel in that topic. By the time, by 10 years or by the time she retires, she would like to make a name on her own that topic. Saying that I have found out this, I have invented this, or I have invented this. That is generally the basic one. And even in the other aspects, like the profession, or teaching, or doing administrative work, and so on and so forth. But this should remain, even though you may become the principal or HOD or whatever. Finally, when you look back, this is what will remain. So, how do you pursue this? See, there is no other support except different from the department or college. It is our own interest. And depending on the motivation levels, you pursue this subject. So, what are the various enabling factors I would like to place here? So, firstly, there is this IEEE. See, the importance of IEEE is a global society. We have IEEE and other societies, Indian societies. Of course, we should, under any platform we can do this. But there are some special factors. This has become the biggest society for people say it's certain branches or electronics, communications, computers, etc. But nowadays it is covering everything, including nanotechnology, robotics, so across the whole areas. So, and also it's a global. So when you are becoming an IEEE member and participating in these programs, we are connecting with the global community. There are so many journals that it publishes. Only journals you can say. From India also, if you do research, we are publishing those journals. We cannot say they are only American journals. They are everyone. All these programs are belonging to everyone. So, reading them, the publication will come later. You want to pursue your subject, you have to read the top journals. Therefore, publication will come gradually when you do your research and so on and so forth. Then the next point is interaction with others in their subject. Almost as close to your subject as possible, you would like to look at. Suppose she is interested in Keynote. You would like to meet people who are in Keynote. So, it's not like a competition. Like placements or admissions, there is a competition between colleges, between students, and so on. But there is no competition if you want to pursue your subject. Except sometimes all the copyright and all those issues will come. But cooperation is an important factor as well. Not many people. Of course, we have narrowed down our subject. We cannot say that Ieee is my interest. Okay? So that's an important thing which is provided by the conference sites. So we would like to attract people in our industry will have some list of focus areas. So in those areas we have tracks. Of course, I don't say that it will happen exactly like what I am saying, but the conference is an important place for professional meeting and interaction. That's the most important purpose as far as someone. See, I was a faculty member. I said, from a faculty member point of view, somewhat similar, but at a smaller scale we cannot do from a student point of view. What does the student study so many subjects in the curriculum? But
because she will have a favorite topic. Like what I said, topic of interest. She will not pursue, the student will not pursue the same subject, but it's her favorite subject. So, you can Google and see what is happening in this subject, what is happening in this subject, and so on. So, that is the motive for this student. In future, if there is a possibility of a job or a higher studies in that domain, definitely you have to take up that subject rather than some other subject. Okay. Including even if there are more opportunities, you can take up that. So that is the advantage of this student. But some of our students will go abroad for higher studies. That is the most important place where, of course, industry is a different game altogether. I will not touch now. So if someone is trying to pursue higher studies in your own discipline, you have to do this. So you have to go to conferences on your own topic. So let me finally touch upon one point at the college level. I talked about the benefit for the faculty, for the student, and the college level. As you know, global rankings are there. Then you have all these accreditation bodies are there, like Ieee, NAC, and so on. So one of the motives for the college to do this is to, of course, I am not saying the main motive, is to display or tell these people that we are active, we are doing this. They are asking us, of course, that's why we are on and do. But keeping that aside, the motive for the college is to excel and into the global rankings. That's a like exams. Ranking is something like exams of wellness for the student. Exams for the college is the rankings. So many of our institutes are very low in the global rankings. There are many factors. One of the important factors is R&D. At the college level, we need a strong R&D. We have to show the world that our college is specializing in this subject, like AI. And we should put efforts. We should put a small committee to oversee top faculty, etc., and some experts from university, etc., and see that this particular area is touched by the institute and take up the topics and consultancies and so on and so forth, which no one has done. That's how you can make your name in the. And then someone says, JNNCOLLEGE, say Center for Excellence, is specializing in AI applications. So that will make everyone is not doing the same. There are so many subjects. Okay? So that's what I would suggest should be wanted for doing all these programs. There are many ways, not only conference, you can do many other ways. Okay? I would stop with this. I will take that part I speak during my talk. Thank you very much for inviting me. I hope you will do many of the programs and excel in technically as well as profession. Thank you very much.
99 assertion, knowledge is supreme. With the continuous dedication and interest, impossible is possible. Thank you so much, sir, for your motivational words, for sharing in this occasion. Thank you so much, sir. I request all the participants to give a big round of applause to Jnnce Shivamogga, sir. Truly, we are all blessed to have a wonderful, supporting and kind management with us. Now, I would like to invite Captain of National Education Society, Jnnce Shivamogga, sir, to address the gathering.
ಸಂಕಿರಣವನ್ನು
ಆಯೋಜಿಸಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೆಲಿಗೇಟ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಸಹ ನಾನು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಮಿತಿಯ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷತೆಯನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ಪ್ರಾಚಾರ್ಯರಾದಂಥ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ವೈ ವಿಜಯಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರೇ, ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳಾದ ಆತ್ಮೀಯರಾದ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಎಸ್ ಎನ್ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ಅವರೇ, ಖಜಾಂಚಿಗಳಾದ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಡಿ ಜಿ ರಮೇಶ್ ಅವರೇ, ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಡಿ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ್ ಅವರೇ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಗ್ಯಾಂಗ್ ಲೀ ಅವರೇ, ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ವಾಸುದೇವ್ ಅವರೇ, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಕ್ ಡೀನ್ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಅವರೇ, ಹಿರಿಯರಾದ ಅಶ್ವತ್ಥನಾರಾಯಣ ಶೆಟ್ಟರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರು ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರೇ, ಆಂಗ್ಲ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಈಶ್ವರ ಸಿಂಗನಾಡಿ ಅವರೇ, ಗುರುಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅವರೇ, ನಮ್ಮ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ರಾಮಚಂದ್ರ ಅವರೇ, ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಭಾಗಗಳ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರುಗಳೇ, ಬೋಧಕ ವರ್ಗದವರೇ, ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಬೋಧಕೇತರ ವರ್ಗದವರೇ, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳು, ಸಿದ್ದೇಶ್ವರ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳ ಒಂದು ಗಾದೆ ಮಾತಿದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತನಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕ್ರೀಡಾಗಿಂತ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮೌನಿಯಾಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಹಾಬುದ್ಧಿವಂತ. ಈ ವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನಷ್ಟೇ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟರಿಗಳು, ನಮ್ಮ ದಯಾಂಜಿಯವರು, ಅವರ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ಸ್, ಒಬ್ಬರು ಅಣ್ಣ ಮಗಳು, ಒಬ್ಬರು ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಕ್. ನಾನು ಆ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ವಿಚಾರ ಸಂಕಿರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಲ್ಗೊಂಡು ನನ್ನ ಸಣ್ಣ ಅನಿಸಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು, ಯಾಕೆ ವಿಷಯದ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಮಾತನಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ಏನಾಗೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೌನಿಯಾಗಿರೋ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ವಿದ್ಯಾಭ್ಯಾಸ ಈಗ ಹಿಂದಿನಂತಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಿಂದಿನ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯೇ ಬೇರೆ, ಈಗಿನ ವರ್ತಮಾನದ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯೇ ಬೇರೆ. ವಾಸ್ತವ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಮತ್ತು ತಾಂತ್ರಿಕ ಆವಿಷ್ಕಾರಗಳ ಕುರಿತು ಭವಿಷ್ಯದ ಚಿಂತನೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಗಾರ ಪೂರಕವಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಅನಿಸಿಕೆ. ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಜಗದ ನಿಯಮ, ಬದಲಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ಆವಿಷ್ಕಾರಗಳಾಗಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಮನುಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆಗೆ ಆವಿಷ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ನಾಂದಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ಆವಿಷ್ಕಾರಗಳಾಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇಂಥ ವಿಚಾರ ಸಂಕಿರಣಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚೆಟ್ಟಾದಾಗ ಶಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಆಸ್ಪದವಾಗ್ತದೆ. ತಿಳಿದವರು ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಒಂದು ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಅದನ್ನು ಸವಾಲಾಗಿ ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸಬೇಕು. ಇವತ್ತೇ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಾಗಾರ ವೀಕ್ಷಿಸಿಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ವಾಸ್ತವಕ್ಕೆ ಬಹಳ ಹತ್ತಿರ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ, ಆಧುನಿಕತೆಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಹತ್ತಿರ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಾಗಾರ. ಇವತ್ತು ಮಾಧ್ಯಮಗಳು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮಗಳು, ಆಡಿಯೋ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಚಿತ್ರಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸುದ್ದಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸಂವಾದಾತ್ಮಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸಹ ಬಹುರೂಪವನ್ನು ಏಕೀಕರಣಗೊಳಿಸತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಮಾಧ್ಯಮವಾಗಿ ಹೊರಬರಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಥ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಗಾರಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಸಂಶೋಧನೆಗಳು ಅಗತ್ಯ. ನನ್ನ ಅನಿಸಿಕೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ಈಗ
Harris, ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ It gives me an immense pleasure and a privilege to introduce a great personality, Dr. Gandhi, Professor, Dean University, Melbourne Campus, Victoria, Australia. Dr. Gandhi, Professor and academic board member of Dean University. He is the AR Director in the Dean Cybersecurity Strategical Research Center. He serves as the Chair for IEEE Task Force on Educational Data Mining from 2022 to 2023 and on IEEE Data Mining and Big Data Analytics Technical Committee from 2017 to 2019 as a Vice Chair. IEEE Analytics Information Systems Technical Committee. He is the editor of Springer's CCIS series and on the editorial board of prestigious journals including Decisions About Systems Cybersecurity. He also serves the role of associate editor and editorial board for social science journals including Tourism Management, Journal of Travel Research, Asia Pacific Journal of Tourism Research and Information Technology and Tourism. He is an internationally recognized expert in data science, data privacy and business intelligence. His research has been funded by various agencies including ARC-LLP, India's Spark Scheme and Hong Kong GRI. He has co-authored 10 papers that won Best Paper prizes including Springer's IP and IM Journal 2023, Best PhD Paper Award winner, IT and T Journal Paper of the Year 2017 and 2023, 2007 National Prize by Springer, etc. On behalf of in this August following, I welcome you, sir, once again. I request all the participants to give a very round of applause. It's time to unveil Mpcit 2024 book of abstracts, that is, Software of Mpcit 2024. I request Dr. Gandhi to unveil the same. I request all the dignitaries to join hands together. Today, we are blessed to have Dr. Gandhi sir here for raising this occasion. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all. It's time to honor Dr. Gandhi for coming all from Australia and raising this occasion. So I request all the dignitaries to kindly share a token of love and appreciation from our college.
aspiring audience. 2024 is a very special year. We may still remember a couple of months ago, Nobel Prize in Physics went to AI researchers. And the day after, Nobel Prize in Chemistry went to AI researchers. And then this also reminds us some of the key messages we will observe in the past 20 years. You may still remember some kind of claim to say that the end of science in the year 2006. Is it true? It seems counterintuitive. But then there is a serious concern on how close the artificial intelligence is close to human intelligence. And many of us think about this, and many of us worry about this. And I believe that nowadays it's a very good time, and 2024 will mark a milestone for the human society. And in this month, Nature magazine issued in December the 3rd, there is one article just discuss about how close the generated AI is to the human intelligence. So if some of us are interested in this part, you can find that paper freely available online. You can see what is the opinion from the top scientists. But this is not the only concern. And this year we have several other kind of things came into effect. One is the EU's AI Act came into effect in August 2024. And you may know that nowadays we have so many tools. Is it possible to use these kind of tools responsibly and ethically? For example, can you use my voice, my face, my video to generate some kind of fake message or disinformation? I will say, technically, you can. But whether it's ethical to do so, or whether it's right to do so, and now we have the law to declare what kind of behaviors is illegal, and what kind of behaviors is encouraged, and what keeps us some kind of room in the AI, especially in the multimedia research. Nowadays, for multimedia research processing, we have all sorts of very nice tools, and you may remember that's OpenAI. They have the ChatGPT 4.0, and they have DALL-E, and the Midjourney. They can also help us to generate many different kinds of multimedia information. And the Sora, we saw the demonstration, and it's also released to some of our colleagues. And this week, Google released Gemini 2.0. You can see that's a key breakthrough. And all this, of course, they bring us the technology, but serious also, especially for our students, we should be certain about, is it a good thing for us, or is it a bad thing for us? You might find that using those kind of tools, it's easier for you to get maybe 70% of mark by using ChatGPT to generate a solution. But are you worried about it? Because we see some companies that already lay off programmers because of those kind of work. Traditionally, we need programmers to do it. Now, they don't need it. And this kind of multimedia processing is even worse. We can see generative AI, they can generate quite a number of artist work with very high quality, with very high speed. This actually put us into a disadvantaged position. So we have to be certain about where we are innovation and collaboration, especially this one, 2024, in Shivamogga. And this conference, I believe, will bring together brilliant minds to shape the future of the information technology multimedia process and also be aware of the artificial intelligence. I look forward to engaging in the thought-breaking discussions and learning from the wealth of ideas presented in this conference. Thank you for this very warm welcome, and I wish the conference great success. Daniel.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing the issues, challenges, and problems in social media, particularly artificial intelligence and all. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming here all over from Australia. I request all the audience to give him a big round of applause. Today, we are honored to have guest of honor, Secretary of National Education Society, Shri S.N. Nagaraja, a motivating force for all the events in the college. I would like to invite Shri S.N. Nagaraja sir to address the gathering.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಮ್ಮ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರು ಮಾತಾಡಿದಾಗ fine to an extent. But the most disturbing development, as I say it, is this emotional computing, emotional artificial intelligence. The machine can interact with the person using it and respond according to the emotions of the man who is using the technology. That is very disturbing, I think. All these days, that's what we were comfortable about the technology. The technology cannot empathize with people. It cannot empathize with the student. The lecturer is needed to empathize with the student. Otherwise, you cannot treat the students as objects. But now, this advantage is gone. If the machine can empathetically interact with the user, that is dangerous. I don't know where we are going to end up. There's no, every day the boundaries are being shifted. The applications are going on and on. In physics, we read that soon after the Big Bang, the universe started expanding, and it is expanding at a very critical rate. It cannot expand much faster, or it can expand much slower. It has a critical rate of expansion, and so we are comfortable with that. But this technology, it has no boundaries, and it has no rate of expansion. So everything is uncontrolled. So where do we stand with all this? That's one thing that is bothering people of my generation. Maybe we are all excited about this technology, younger generation people. But we, the elders, because it brings a big question marks on ethics, professional ethics. We don't have a personal space as such right now. All the information available on the cloud. Anybody and everybody can get into my system, hack my system, get my personal information, do anything with it, whatever he wants, he or she. That is the disturbing part of it. So, I always remember when we were in the college days and the computer was just being introduced. We never studied anything with computers in our college days. It was a very popular saying. Computer is a good servant and a bad master. That was the statement that we all grew up. And that is proving to be true today. We are making the computer our masters. We have some problems in the process. So, I sincerely hope in this international conference, you people will be able to discuss and evolve with a solution with your interactions and the resource persons that we have. It's not easy to organize such an international conference. A lot of work and energy and time goes behind the scenes. Mr. Satyanarayan and his team have done a wonderful job. I congratulate on them. So, to make it more purposeful and more interactive and more proactive, you all participate in this and try to find a solution to make this earth a better living place for tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you all.
ಒಂದು ಮಾತಿದೆ, ಗಳಿಗೆ ಗಳಿಗೆಗೂ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ರೀತಿಗೆ ಈ ಜಗ ಓಡುತ್ತಿದೆ, ಹಳೆಯ ನೋಡುತ್ತಾ ಕಿಲಕಿಲ ನಗುತ್ತಲಿ ಈ ಜಗ ಓಡುತ್ತಿದೆ, ಪ್ರಗತಿಯ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದೆಯೋ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಳಯ ದುರಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದೆಯೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟರಿ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಸರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿಸ್ಡಮ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. Now, I would like to invite an active person of IEEE, Dr. Vasudeva, Chair IEEE Mangalore Subsection, General Chair Mpcit 2024 to step.
Dignitaries on and off the dais, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. 2 ನಿಮಿಷ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದೆ, ನಿಮಿಷಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಂತ 60 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. So I will finish by that because I don't want to bore you people with Mpcit, I think my connection started in 2020 during Corona. I think during proceedings uploading, I was part of it. And 2022 Discover, it is our own conference. And JNNC gave a unique shift to that conference with many sponsors from different organizations. Of course, it was a well-organized event, and you made it difficult for the next course. Of course, organizing conferences have its own difficulties, all these things are there. But what I felt was, Corona gone, but the effect of Corona has not gone in academics. I think nowadays, before registration, first they ask, online option unta. Why? Because they won't register otherwise. So that is the major effect of Corona. But what I feel is the conferences are the platform to interact and discuss, collaborate, all these things. More than that, what I feel is, usually these days I used to get calls or the research scholars who are going to submit their thesis used to come to me. Sir, I want 6 examiners from India, 6 from foreign. And after giving the list, they will ask, sir, our age. I think if they come to conferences, they will definitely get examiners and they will come to know our way. Real-time experience they will have. But I think the scholars are missing that one very bad. So that should not happen. So I request Satyanarayana sir, Mpcit 2026, let it go physical mode. Because 2024 Discover we had this year purely physical mode, all 79 papers presented offline. And we got calls, of course, sir, online unta. Illa. Very simple answer. And just 3 days before we got call from Chennai. Sir, here it is raining heavily. All airport, train stations are covered with water. No sir, still 3 more days are there. And weather won't be stable for long. Let it sustain. And of course they were there in Bangalore on conference day to present the papers. So that is how it works. And of course conference organization, if you follow the process, it's not at all a great thing. Please follow the process because in conference we talk about quality, all these things. Of course quality cannot be defined. What we can do is you follow a very streamlined process. Done. I think that is how we could successfully conduct 8 editions of Discover. And I think starting from 2020, all 5 editions, we could publish the proceedings of those conferences within 45 days after the conference. I don't say that it is an achievement, it is the result of the process that we follow. And of course, it starts from the application till proceedings uploading. We have a very defined process and we will follow it. And of course, JNNC is very much following it up. And if they have any conflict or any doubt or something like that, usually they will call a number which ends in 385 and they will get the answer. That is it. Let me not explain what it is. You must understand because you are all technologists and you are working with AI, ML, machine learning. Anyway, I wish the function conference all the best. And as a Mangalore subsection chair, I have a special pride this year. This is the 5th conference that I am attending in our region. And one more conference is happening in MIT Manipal today and tomorrow. Yesterday I was there. So the point is our institutions are getting the confidence and courage to organize IEEE conferences, which otherwise would have been said that it is very difficult, our legal constraint ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ by January 31st, 2025. The conference proceedings will be therein articulately explored. Thank you.
I would like to welcome Life Member of MES, Mr. Raghu, on this occasion. Welcome you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your words of true reality and inspiration. Thank you once again, sir. We are blessed to have a true spirit, inspiration of our institute, that is our principal, President of today's program, Dr. Ieee sir. Now, I would like to invite Principal sir to share his words of wisdom. Over to you, sir.
Everybody namaskar. Good morning and welcome once again. Respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, participants, well-wishers, guests, heads of the departments, participants from various engineering colleges and my dear students. Good morning and warm welcome once again to everyone. And today at JNNCOLLEGE we have a very, very auspicious day for organizing this 4th international conference. I wholeheartedly thank the department and the committee members and everyone for having this wonderful session. For the sake of participants, I will a small brief about my institution. This is JNN College of Engineering is celebrating or enjoying or living on 45th academic year under the great National Education Society as a flagship institute. Today we have 2 sets of faculty members in the campus. One is the faculty members with a doctorate degree
in uplifting technicality in solving societal problems. Thank you so much, sir. We are today blessed to have Mr. Suresh Katta, founder, chair, emeritus, Sama Technology USA. He is coming here to deliver guest lecture for AI, RNAI, and mechanics. On behalf of our institute, I wholeheartedly welcome you on this occasion. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Manjunatha P., a positive motivator, Dean Academics, JNNC, to deliver vote of thanks.
Good morning, respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Because of the time, I would like to complete within one line. I wholeheartedly thank dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Management committee members, president, secretary, treasurer, life members of NES, directors, HODs of various department, professors, teaching and non-teaching staff members, paper presenters, those who are coming in all the way, and the chief guest of today's function, Srinivas sir, Gangli, and Vasudeva sir, and my dear students, and those who are supported to arrange this conference. Ramchandra sir, I thank everyone. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Manjunatha sir. I would like to thank each and everyone for pouring your direct and support in this event, a grand success, inaugural grand success. I think all of you definitely will enjoy the 2 days conference in our institute.
Yeah. Good morning again. Now there will be a keynote speech from Dr. P. Srinivas. All the participants are requested to stay back. After that we will be having the tea break. Yeah, please.
aspects of, but information. It's not simply only quantum. As you know, a lot of devices which are based on quantum physics, they call it, like lasers, these magnetic devices. So all these quantum physics. But we are now interested in quantum information. That is the main topic of interest. Correct? You may not be able to see very clearly some of these, but I am not reading everything. A few points I will present in each of these, and I will highlight. So this is a brief outline of my presentation. We will start with a little bit about what is qubits, because it is slightly new for many people, and then we will go on to some systems. I will use logic gates, quantum logic gates as an example, and then we will see a few block diagrams of how a quantum computer looks like, but as compared with conventional computers. Then towards the end, I will put how photonics will play an important role. In fact, I will see if you look at the technology part. There is no real quantum computer yet. Even though you see so much news, everything, we don't have a quantum computer yet. Let us compare that with the VLSI, the electronics. The VLSI has played an important role. All our cell phones, laptops, everything we have come because of the chips. And of course, that is an important next generation, or next generation, next few years, not exactly only few years, from now on, it is the VLSI world, all our jobs, like software, clear. So it is going to take a leap into the hardware with VLSI. Then what next of VLSI? Software is received as almost not exactly saturated. See, around 2000 or so, there is a big hype about software, fighting the problem. So many things. But just normally, like from a computer science point of view, order of magnitude, not possible. Similarly, some complicated differential equation cannot be solved. Assuming mathematically they are solvable, okay, in terms of the complexity of the, best example is the weather forecasting data will involve a lot of inhomogeneous, non-linear equations. You cannot solve. Like that, there are many problems that quantum can solve. But what is the crux of the problem? We have to use the quantum phenomena to address this. You take a quantum phenomena, like many phenomena are quantum, almost in fact, most of the phenomena are quantum, we are always simplifying them. See, for example, the light, the colors of the objects, the genetics, the biology. These are all quantum phenomena, not governed by classical differential equations. I'll tell you the most important, very simplest word for quantum. So, we have to take the quantum phenomena and then use it for solving these problems. That's the most important difference. Classical objects, classical equations, like projectile motion, you can solve within one directions and you can say this is this. You cannot say that with many things. So, two specific things I put here. A quantum computer is one which works on the principles of quantum physics. Similarly, a quantum communication link means you use qubits instead of bits. So that the next slide I'll come back. See, this is what we do. Most of the students or everyone, when someone asks, what is this quantum computer? The first statement that you can make is the computer that works on the principles of quantum physics. Something like that we do. Say like in the olden days in the electronic, in the beginning of the century, e-commerce. Then they say, what you say, you use electronics for commerce applications. E-governance, when you say, use electronics for governance. Similarly, now you can say quantum computers, one which uses quantum principles. But of course, you have to go deeper, technically speaking. Okay? Let us go. So, Feynman is the first one who has predicted that they use quantum principles for computing. A lot of things he has done, but he is one of the first, at least first. I suppose many of you know him, and clear-cut, he has explained very well a lot of quantum physics. I suppose some of you know him, is it not? You have read any of his books in college? I think some focus is less or slightly on projector. Someone can adjust the, or of course you need not worry so much. That's why it's like easy.
It's visible very clear here.
It's okay. Yeah. In fact, you don't need to fully understand everything. See, many of my lectures, I'm not trying to make you expert in this subject. By the end of this talk, you must please check. When you take up some keywords, later on a lot of literature is there. I will also tell you the professional part, which books to read, which magazines, which society to join, and all those things. So, here what I have put is, we'll start with about 1984. There are a lot of things are there, but I will tell you one key important milestones in this history of quantum information technology. So, one of the earliest protocols for communication is called the B84 protocol. So, Bennett and Prasad, these are the two scientists who have announced a protocol for quantum key distribution. That is the first thing. We will describe slightly more. All the slides are there with you, don't worry. You can take them. No need to, that's what I said. Then, one or two more highlight, I will do highlight. Say, for example, Brovers Mpcit by IBM. You can use it to simulate all these logic gates and system level functions. Then Professor Apura Patel in our Institute for the Physics Department in IISc, they have developed their own tools, software for quantum functions, quantum computing and all that. They are also available to anyone to use. A lot of workshops go on everywhere. I Madras, I Kanpur, they have conducted 1 week workshop and so on. And IIT also does many of these. So you only have to explore as part of the ComSoft or so, please do that. But when you want to go to technology, I suggest you need either photonics or solid state circuits. And thank you very much. So you can send me email, you can also talk to me after this. Also, I mean the professional aspect, like what to go about, and I can give you a few papers to madam, and you can read them. I mean, for educational purpose, it is not bad this year. For commercial purpose, it's not that either. In IIT, you have read all those 10 guidelines. Those who are joining, please read those 10 lines. At least after joining. While joining, you simply put a mark, like in installing some software. For educational purpose, you can read, you can download it. Thank you very much.
So in this session, Srinivas has given an insight on the fundamental information of quantum computing and photonics. In his lecture, definitely it will motivate the researchers and also explore more in the area of quantum physics as well as quantum mechanics and quantum computing, because nowadays all of you know that all of you are using electronic gadgets and all, and you know that how safe your data is. So in order to make secure and all, and also in order to explore new things and all, quantum physics as well as quantum systems are coming in recent technologies. So those who are interested, they can able to approach and they can able to talk with him also. If you are having any doubts or any questions, you can ask him, he is going to clarify. Okay. And now, I thank you very much for giving this wonderful session. Thank you, sir. So now we are having a short break and immediately paper presentation session is.
So I welcome all of you for the post-lunch session. Hope you are not eaten so much so that you are sleeping. Okay. So now I invite Pavani to introduce the first speaker, Dr. Michael from Oslo University in Norway. Over to Pavani, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Michael Wells from University of Oslo, Norway. Michael Wells is a full professor in Department of Informatics of University of Oslo since 2019. He received his PhD and his habilitation from the University Darmstadt, Germany in 2002 and 2007 respectively. Michael has been active in the IETF and IRTF for many years by chairing the Internet Congestion Control Research Group, leading the effort to form the Transport Services Working Group. He has also participated in several European research projects, including roles such as coordinator and technical manager. His research interests include transport protocols and network architectures, with a focus on the internet, on performance as well as energy efficiency. Welcome you, sir.
Okay, I'll talk back here then. It's not going on and off and on and off.
No, now it will go on. We can please hand.
Okay, I'll just you continue using it or like that. I don't care. Just continue. I mean, mainly we don't want to go over time. So the solution to the whole thing is to rearrange the transport layer. The way we had it before is that you had the application on top and all the complexity of figuring out which protocol to use, in which way to use it, how to fall back from one protocol to another, which interface to use, any other configuration that you want to make. That is all inside the application. And then there is a relatively simple transport layer below. And what I'm trying to shift to is that we have a simpler application that talks to a more complicated transport layer, right? That does all this stuff for you. Now, this transport layer must know what the applications want, right? So naturally, the interface needs to be a bit more complicated. So we had a static, very simple interface. Now we have a dynamic and a slightly more complicated interface. But the gain is that you get a lot of machinery that will automate things for you. And you get much more flexibility. So,
okay. This is one of the slides that we used when we created tabs.
So the benefits and flexibility are pretty big in principle, because you can have situations where you are using one service provider, that service provider only supports protocol X. And now you're moving to another service provider that supports also this great new protocol, like Y, you know. But what happens is, without using without using a different interface, purpose of this interface, nothing will happen. You will still use X. connection. A connection can be all kinds of things. It's a capital C connection in the document. So you could have a connection that you create in this API, which, for instance, becomes, if you say, I don't care about reliability, maybe it's UDP. Even UDP today with work-based sockets, you can use it in a connected mode. It doesn't do much, right? You do connect and then nothing really happens. So that is a way to have a connection. It can be, for instance, Quick and SCTP. These protocols allow multiplexing streams. So you would have multiple data streams over only one connection, and that would allow, that would make things faster. For example, you have the connection set up only once, you know, the handshake in the beginning, you have that at the very beginning, but if I'm using a new stream, then it would just, I just start sending. I don't need to open the connection anymore, I don't need to wait for a handshake. And I can have also priorities between my streams because that is just a scheduling thing, right? It uses only one connection, it's multiplexed over it. Now in tabs, a connection can magically become a stream, right? You could have a connection and that would be the first quick connection. Now you open a new connection to the same destination. You don't know what's going on, but maybe that connection is actually just a stream over the same quick connection. So it opens immediately and you have total control over priorities over these kinds of things. It's more abstract, right? It's just a connection, no sending and receiving. This shows the phases that we have. So there's a pre-establishment phase, an establishment phase, well, established, and then terminating. I have some more details about that on the slide. These are just some pictures from the ASCII diagrams as we have them in RFC. You know. So a pre-connection is something that, the way you communicate with this thing is a little different. It's slightly new. We have this notion of a pre-connection. So you know, with sockets, you create a socket and you connect it and that's that. And as you connect it, the message goes on the wire. Here it's different. You create a pre-connection to destination and you hand over properties that you wish. So for example, if you care about reliability, if you would have, if you wish for low latency, if you wish for scavenger, that would be low priority traffic, for instance. These kinds of things you should normally configure as soon as possible. So after creating the pre-connection, you configure it, and nothing happens on the wire yet, because the point is that the system needs to have information about what the application wants before it even connects. So that is what happens there. There are selection properties with a preference level. The default would be prefer for most things, but you could also require something. You can also be very strict with this and say, my application must exactly use, even the following protocol, you can even make a choice, but it's very much, not recommended. So the point is to not do that. You should say, this is the kind of wish I have, and make something that works the best for me. Now, I have some examples here, right, about data ordering, should it be congestion control, whatever. You can give all kinds of things, but you could also ignore all that, and then it's going to use default behaviors. And these defaults are going to be okay for most cases. You would get something like TCP by default, reliable data transfer with no extras. And then you can connect. For that we have initiate with send, which is a special case for sending a message on. It's zero RTT connection setup. That's something that exists in Quick and is a special feature in TCP as well, which we wanted to stand out because it's a special way of sending only one message that may arrive multiple times with the receiver. Then there's listen and rendezvous. And if you already have a connection to a certain destination, you can use clone. That's recommended to use. And clone is going to give you a new connection, and clone is going to, if it's a multi-streaming protocol below, just give you a stream actually underneath, right? And then you have a new connection that has similar properties. Should I try again? I can go back. Okay.
It's fine.
So it's a more efficient way of doing it. Then for sending data, it's just send simple. With various properties, you can give lifetime, priority, order in your final message. You can give all these things, and more or less nothing is guaranteed, because the idea is that you can I'm not trying again. Because it's probably more annoying if I get loud and stuff like. Yeah, so you would get up to 10 messages for these 10 receive calls that you have issued and not more, so that you can control how much comes in on the receiver side and have a way of pushing back a little bit. There is a receive partial event. There are some details here, right, that I'm not going to get into. You can get information like ECN and so on. There is closing and aborting, of course. I think I'll skip over the details on how that works. It's just a very strict close. There are no half-closed connections as in TCP, because we needed to implement the strictest of all the protocols that we support, right? Otherwise it becomes semantically wrong. What is more interesting maybe is what will happen now and what the state of things is in terms of implementation and where we move. So it's not yet another API. It's really meant to be something that all applications can use. It's all best efforts. It's the first time that the IETF specifies the API for the transport, right? Berkeley sockets were POSIX. It's a different standard. It's not from the IETF. It's going to be a proposed standard. It's finished. There is a phase in the IETF. I mean, this has been 8 years of work, or 10, something in that range. Like it's been forever. I sunk so much time in it, and not only me, many colleagues as well. And now we're at the point where I even know the number of the RFC it's going to be. So it's not out yet, but maybe in a week it's like this. I mean, the last, I have to look at capital words versus not capital words and make them uniform everywhere. So we're doing the most exciting editing now, the final just word fixing. It's really meant to replace the socket interface. We need implementations. So in terms of implementations, here are a couple of things that we have. There was a European project called NEAT, where we implemented the thing in parallel as we also made it work in the group. That offers a lot of things. It's because it's a research output, so it's a very big and buggy and complex vehicle, but it can do a lot of things. It can do TCP, MPTCP, STCP, UDP, UDP Lite, some more researchy things that we've made. As a policy manager, at some point I advised the master student to bring this whole thing a bit more up to date with a sim layer in Python. So that neat Pi, if you are able to install the whole thing, because it's a massive thing. Even neat is so big and then neat Pi on top. But that would be pretty much up to date and a nice Python API to use. There is PyTabs, which is a very minimal Python-based API. There is the ongoing work on tabs for Scion, so more obscure. So these are all not very cool, I would say. There's just some projects here and there, right, but not really achieving anything. There is the one implementation that makes me happy, which is Apple. So if you write against the Apple network.framework API, this is a tabs API. I've done that since, I think, 2018. That was the first presentation. One of the big things in this Apple where they present the thing they do. They recommend using it for all application developers. And what they have been doing is, so first of all, they are part of the team, Tommy Pauly, who you see here, tiny standing. He is one of the co-authors of all the documents. He has definitely influenced how the standard is. So this is in line with what Apple is doing. And they have implemented only very few of the features that we have. So it looks kind of the same way. It's event-based. It has the send event. It has all these receive, like the way to give pushback with the receive calls that I just explained. It's like that if you write against network framework. But many of the features that you've seen are not added, and the reason is very simple. Like a colleague from Apple told me, you cannot, like normally for other standards, often implementations appear before the standard appears. But in that case, it's the other way around, because Apple is not going to implement 13 features and then a year later they change it all because we have made a change in the standard, and we said, oh no, we want to take that feature away again. Right, that will be a problem for all the application developers. So they gradually make it bigger and bigger and add the things. But it's in line with the standard. It's correctly following the standard, and I think, it exists for Swift and C. And they have also, as part of making things gradually more advanced, originally this API was all just over TCP. And then at some point they said, now you're going to also get quick sometimes, right? You may not know, like it depends on what it is. So this already dynamically choosing either quick or TCP, and you just pick a service. Apple also has a policy manager, a notion of you're making a decision. If you look at, this would be from my phone, if you think about this, right, this here, where you can choose mobile data on, off, Wi-Fi on, off, and then somehow a choice is being made about using Wi-Fi or not, that is not really possible with the Berkeley socket interface, right? If an application is written to say my source address is the following, then it's going to be, let's say, the Wi-Fi address, and that will not be the same address as the mobile address. So how is the application going to dynamically switch? That can only work if the API doesn't even make this high, right? So that's an example of the flexibility they get from using a more abstract API. Broader things are possible. I think I should probably reach the iPhone half an hour. This changes the socket interface, but like I said, people don't use the socket interface anymore. The application could really be, now when I was talking about an application, right, if you use a library or a middleware that offers a higher layer API, then that library or middleware is the application I'm talking about. So you could replace a middleware, and that might have an effect on the API that's being offered, but also you could imagine that the middleware just works better. For example, when we created the TAPS working group, there was a guy who spoke for us about how this could have an influence on pub/sub middlewares. It was Martin Sustrick, and he is the author of ZeroMQ. It's a very famous open source pub/sub middleware. He talked about how different transport protocols could work better for pub/sub middlewares. They could be more efficient. Pub/sub is inherently unreliable, right? You publish something, but you don't want to wait until everybody has gotten it. So then the unreliability is built above that interface, which is not as efficient as just selling the interface. They have a certain lifetime associated with this, or a certain reliability limit. There are many research opportunities here. I'm getting to the end. TAPS deep couples applications from protocols, so anything can run underneath this API, right? A new protocol X could automatically make an application work better. If you have any idea for a new protocol, any mechanism, way to do better latency support, partial reliability, anything, you can just put it in there underneath the API and it would automatically be used if people use such an API. And above, the system could now be changed bottom up, right? So if we now say that this transport system is a standard and is going to be a standard, then now we have a research question on how can we actually automatically benefit from new services. What I just said about pub/sub, right, that is a completely open research question. How would I make a pub/sub middleware more efficient using features that other new protocols offer? Priorities between flows and things like that. Or how would I make, I don't know, some other API, some other middleware more efficient? And then there's a question on what should be exposed at a higher layer. Certain things need to go all the way to the application, but not everything, right? So there are research questions here. How will this affect the application? But, there are interesting things to do, I think. And this is why I think this is exciting to talk about, and I want everybody to start using and implementing and playing with this. That's that. Here are some links to Ieee, TAPS, and I'm here for any questions you may have. That's it. Yeah.
So, how would this change when we use multi-part? For instance, I would prefer to use mobile address simultaneously along with my Wi-Fi address.
Yeah, you can give there's not much in this. You can give a preference. If you look at the API, I mean, MPTCP itself is completely transparent, right? There is one API definition.
Yeah.
You can, I think, you call it a path manager, right? There are these different choices that you can give.
Yes.
So there's a way to give a preference on, I don't remember actually, but you can prefer something like a Wi-Fi interface or prefer to use both if possible, so that you would make the right choice with the path manager below. But it's kind of minimal.
Okay. And there's a follow-up on this. So imagine I have two interfaces, but I would prefer to use only one. So
Yeah.
let's say I have cellular versus satellite.
Yes.
Satellite is more expensive.
Yes.
Say Starlink is more expensive.
Yes.
And I have a cellular which is cheaper.
Yes.
And I have both of them connected
Yes.
with each other. And then I have default connectivity on cellular, but let's say I enter into a terrain where cellular goes off.
Yes.
And I want to dynamically switch over to satellite without any significant delays.
Yeah.
And then I am in satellite now because I don't have the cellular connectivity, but after a while I enter into cellular and would want to move back to cellular even when satellite is totally fine.
Yeah.
Because I want to save the cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do we have ways to handle this in our APIs? Is it dynamic enough to handle such kind of cases?
I mean, so first of all, until you said I want them to go back to cellular again because it's cheaper. Until then, right? Everything I thought MPTCP can do that. You don't need the API for it. It would automatically do that. But I think yes. I mean, you can define what kind of API or what kind of interface it is, and you can give a preference for it. So you could say I want to use both, but I prefer that particular interface.
Yeah. So then
you can say that.
So is the answer to the question that if we have a proper preferences set, it would then go to cellular whenever cellular is?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all about setting the preferences.
Yes. Another way of thinking of this is like anything you could imagine that Apple wants is in there. Right? Everything they wanted, Tommy was like, oh, we have to have that. So, of course, they deal a lot with multi-path, right? So they were keen on having this right.
Yeah.
So this came from him, the way this is defined.
Thanks.
Welcome. Anybody else? No more questions?
Anybody from the students group, any questions?
Okay.
So if there is no question, now it's over to the next speaker. Before that, how you conclude? Yeah.
Okay. Feel free to approach me afterwards, if in the break or something, if you want to talk to me, you know.
Thank you.
Oh.
Now I would like to call Jnnce Shivamogga from 7th Sem AC to introduce Mohit P. Tilhani sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I am Jnnce Shivamogga. Now I am going to introduce the talker of this presentation, Mohit sir. Dr. Mohit P. Tilhani is an associate professor of computer science and engineering at National Institute of Technology, Karnataka, Surat, India, and a member of the board of an Indian Internet Engineering Society. He obtained PhD in the area of congestion control mechanisms for the next generation internet from the NITK Surat, India in 2013. His areas of interest include network congestion control, two disciplines, network function visualization, deterministic networking, IPv deployments, networks, and distributed ledger industries and technology. He has executed projects in the areas that have been funded by the Intel Technologies India's Private Limited, ABB Global Industries and Services Private Limited, Bangalore, Robert Bosch Engineering and Business Solutions Private Limited, Tata Communication Limited, Epsilon India, Robosoft Technologies Private Limited, Quantum Networks, Samsung Tech International Dubai, Max G Solutions Dubai, Outside the Stacks USA and FutureWay Technologies USA. Mohit received the EMC M Achiever of 2015 from EMC Corporation, Bengaluru, the Outstanding Young Professional Volunteer Award of 2021 by IEEE Bangalore Section and IEEE Bangalore Section Chairs recognition in 2024. Mohit has contributed to open source projects for more than a decade. A packet scheduler developed by his team at NITK Surat to fight the button bloat problem got merged into the maintain of the Linux kernel version 5.6. He is a member of the steering council of NS3 and a co-member
served as a member of the PC for workshop on NS3 for the first 11 editions. Besides, he served as a mentor for Google Summer of Code from 2017 to 2024 for the NS3 organization and has been one of the organization administrator since 2021. He also served as an organization administrator for NS3's participation in Google Code during 2018 and 2019. He has 60 plus technical publications in peer-reviewed international conferences and journals. He is a reviewer for IEEE Internet of Things, IEEE Transactions on Cloud Computing, IEEE Transactions on Networking, elsewhere Journal of Network and Computer Application, Computer Communications, Inbound Science Journals, IEEE Communication Letters, and held several other roles in IEEE and Springer conferences. He served as a guest edition for Annuals of Telecommunication, Springer Journal. He is a senior member of IEEE, a member of Executive Committee of IEEE Mango Subsection for 10 years, Student Activity Chair for IEEE Mango Subsection during 2015 to 2017, Secretary during 2021, and a Chair during 2023. He is also a member of ACM and Time Macadoo. We are blessed to have Mohit sir over here. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Right. So, first of all, it's a real pleasure to be amongst all of you for this international conference. Professor Satyanarayana keeps inviting me to JNNC many times, but I haven't been able to come. I'm glad that I was able to make it this time. So, it's a double pleasure for me. Number one, to be a part of this conference with all of you. And second, to be speaking besides Michael. So, me and Michael started working together recently, but when I was a PhD student in 2009, the area that I worked on in my PhD was TCP congestion control, and you saw Michael's talk was also related to a lot of TCP concepts, although not congestion control in specific. But this was the first book that I read. So he's an author of a very popular book called Network Congestion Control. It's called the Network Congestion Control. That's the name of the book, and that was one of the finest books that I read, and I started. So in November 2022, I was in London, and I was attending the ITF meeting, and that's where I met Michael for the first time, and it was quite funny. I'm not sure I told Michael about this. I'm not sure I told you about this. So I was visiting ITF in London, and ITF has a practice that they keep the participants list public. So I saw that you are going to be visiting in person, and I was visiting in person. So I thought I'll meet Michael for the first time, whose books I read 15 years ago and whose papers I was following. So I was following him, and I go and I keep searching for Michael. Where is Michael? And I saw him. He was occupied with like 6-7 people. When I saw him for the first time in the Hilton Hotel where ITF was, I said, I waited for about 10-15 minutes talking to other people, keeping one eye on Michael whether he's free or not, but he wasn't free. So I said, okay, he's busy, I don't want to disturb him. He doesn't even know me. I know him, but he doesn't. So I didn't talk to him. Next I go and see, he's gone from that table. So I don't know where is he. So it was the third day I was looking for him. Where is Michael? Where is Michael? And then ITF has 8 parallel meetings going on at any point of time. So you never know where he is. He could be in any one of the meetings. So I said, okay, there's a 1 week of time. I'll find him somewhere, and next I find him, I'll go talk to him. And in ITF, we used to have, this time we did not have it in Dublin, Ireland, when we were there, but then they used to have this cultural event. So I am sitting on a bus that was arranged by these people in London to go to the cultural event, and I'm looking out of the window talking to my younger brother. Younger brother is insisting, you are in London, come to Dublin, and I'm telling him, no, I won't be able to travel this. And then the whole bus has become full. I don't know, there's a seat beside me which is vacant, and in comes Michael in the bus looking for the seat, and he doesn't find any seat, and he comes and sits me and says, can I sit here? And I said, yes, please, I have been searching for you for last 3 days. So then I introduce myself and I tell him that I wanted to talk, and then this is how. So that was our first meeting in the bus. We were going to the cultural event. And then we have slowly started working together. So Michael is in NITK for a week. So that's how we said, let's go to this conference at Shivamogga where he can speak. So it's a pleasure to be with you and to be talking besides him. The topic that I have chosen is something that I am actively working on. It's called aggregating multiple internet connections using an open source tool which is in short called OMR. It's called Open Multipath TCP Router. The T doesn't come in the abbreviation. So we say Open Multipath and then TCP Router is just R is used. So that's how it's called OMR. I'll share the website. It's a freely available tool. You can actually just try using it. And what do you mean by aggregating multiple internet connections? So let me set the context and then I'll go to the next slide. So we all have been surrounded by multi-home gadgets. When I say multi-home gadget, your phone is one simple example. Your phone has a cellular connectivity and your phone also has a Wi-Fi. So I have this question for all the people here. If you use phone and you keep your Wi-Fi on and connected and you have a cellular data also on, do you think your phone is using both the connections simultaneously or only one? That's the problem. That's precisely the problem. So I was approached by some people and they said, okay, we have a specific problem. So yeah, I'll change the slide. I want to set the context. Thank you. So some people came and said, so we have some important businesses which are in the remote places in India. And they have a broadband connectivity, they have a wired connectivity. But that's not sufficient for running their day-to-day activity. So they had a problem. They said broadband is not sufficient. After a few years, Jio launched their 4G services. And we all migrated to Jio, right? So Jio also has a service now in that village. But again, that Jio service is alone not sufficient. So Jio is our ISP in India, one of the popular ISPs in India. So you have now in that village two connectivities. You have a broadband connectivity and you have Jio, but you can't use both simultaneously, and alone individually both of them are not sufficient to provide the service that you want. So how funny it is. I have broadband connectivity, it's not sufficient. I have cellular connectivity, that's not sufficient. If I combine them both, probably I will be getting much better connectivity, but that's not possible because the protocols don't support it. And that's what my topic comes. Aggregating multiple internet connections. So you aggregate the broadband connectivity along with Jio's 4G service and try to give a better quality of service to the people where internet connectivity is an issue. And to achieve that, multiple ways are there you could achieve it. One of the ways that we people do it today is we use multipath TCP. Multipath TCP allows you to use multiple internet connections simultaneously so that you can actually get better throughput for your services. And there are multiple ways by which you use multipath TCP. We are using this tool called OMR. So that's the context. Is this clear? You are very near to a place which actually has such a kind of a problem. And recently, we have actually received a project about which we just made an announcement. And JNNCOLLEGE of Engineering student branch of IEEE is going to be actively working with me on this project. There's a project that we got funded last week from IEEE Communication Society to provide internet connectivity to a small village in Agumbe. So you know Agumbe? All of you? Right. So me and Michael just crossed Agumbe today when we traveled to Shivamogga. Is it working? Is it working? I'm loud enough otherwise. All right, so I'll just keep it. Don't worry. You also relax. Otherwise, you know, he is the one under whom most pressure. Just relax, okay? Yeah. You want me to put it off? Yes, done. Perfect. You relax, have a cup of tea. Yeah. So, Agumbe has internet connectivity problem, and I'm pretty sure you know about it. So we are trying to solve the problem at Agumbe's internet connectivity, and one of the partial ways we are going to solve that problem is by using OMR technology. So we have spoken to BSNL, which is government ISP in India, and there is Airtel, that is another ISP. So we have spoken to two of them, and we are trying to see if we can aggregate multiple connections and see if we can give something to Agumbe. So it's a funded project by IEEE. We want to work on that project going forward. Yeah, so let's take a quick introduction to what is OMR, and then I'll show you a small video that I have captured So we have done a small experiment where we are transferring a video file and we capture those packets, and we have the VLC media player which is capturing the entire video live with a single connection, and we introduce errors in that connection, some packet losses to see to it that there is disruption caused. And then we use multipath TCP and cause the same disruption as again, but we show that since you are using multiple path, the disruption is very less, and hence you can increase your multimedia quality by using multipath, which also matches the theme of your conference, which says multimedia processing. So I have a small video at the end to show to all of you. So what is OMR? It is an open source router. It's a software, it's not a hardware. It's a software router which is having an implementation of MPTCP, which is the next TCP. We have all studied fundamental TCPs in our courses. Multipath TCP is something that I encourage faculty members to start teaching, because it's one thing that the students need to know in today's world, that people are talking about multipath. And it allows devices to use multiple interconnections simultaneously. So the future would be where you will be using your phone and you will have these two connectivities like Wi-Fi and cellular, and both will be used simultaneously. And not to be surprised if you are not aware, if you have an iPhone in your hand, you are already doing that. So you know iPhone has an app, the self-assistant called Siri. So what Apple found was that most of their users of iPhone were using Siri when they were on the move. That means when they were walking, right? And in a lot of countries, people prefer to walk or use public transport, right? So they are continuously walking on the street and they are using Siri. And then what happens is, Apple saw that whenever they were using iPhone and talking to Siri, and when you talk to Siri, you are asking something, what's the probability of rain today, or how is the weather, or whether this shop is open today. So you ask those questions, and for that, you need to speak a sentence. And some parts of your sentences were getting dropped when you are using only one connection. So Siri comes back and says, sorry, could you please repeat that? Right? And that irritates the user, because you will say once, you will say twice, but if this assistant keeps asking you, can you repeat it again, you would rather go and search on Google by yourself. You will say, no need to ask because it's not listening to me, right? So what Apple has done now, long back, they have actually implemented MPTCP in their operating system, and it's already been more than 5 years that this technology is in place, but not many of us, we know about it. So they use multipath TCP in their phones, particularly for Siri app, and if you are using Siri and your both networks are on, that means you are connected to Wi-Fi and cellular, whether you know or not, but they actually use both of them, so that if you are speaking a statement and a part of the statement falls using this particular connection, there is a probability it will go through another connection successfully, and then Siri will be able to interpret what your question is, and it wouldn't come back to you saying, can you repeat it again? So a better user experience is obtained if your packet losses can be avoided if you use single path, right? So that's where iPhone uses it. Then Apple also introduced this technology now for Apple Music. So if you are using Apple Music and you have two connections, it actually utilizes both your connections to give you good quality of service. So Apple has done it. Many others will soon do it. And imagine, so you all use Netflix, you will use Amazon Prime Video, you also use YouTube. There are so many apps like these that we use, particularly for multimedia streaming. One day would be probably coming, in some time from now, where all these companies would start using multipath functionality, maybe multipath TCP or multipath some other protocol, but they would be using this multipath technology so that if you are at home and you have Wi-Fi and you have cellular and you want to use both, you can use both to have even better quality of multimedia streaming done on your phones. But we are not yet there. And since we are not yet there, since all these providers have not yet done this in your phones, we use OMR. Otherwise, OMR would not be required in future. OMR would go away. So this is a very quick introduction. What is the purpose? Enhance the connectivity, improve the reliability by distributing traffic across multiple paths, so that if it doesn't go through one path, there is a chance that you can divert it through another path without manually switching. Because otherwise, right now you have to manually switch. Let's say you are connected to Wi-Fi at JNNC. I was talking to your network admin during the lunch break, and they said they have a free Wi-Fi, but then say students complain that it doesn't work. That's a different story. That's a different story. But then you are at JNNC and you have Wi-Fi, and now you want to go back home, you are in a bus and traveling, Wi-Fi wouldn't be there in the bus, right? So then you have to manually switch off that Wi-Fi and switch on the cellular data, right? But then probably that's not what the future is about. The future is you'll have both on, and then you start your WhatsApp call and you are on Wi-Fi and you sit in the bus and the bus has not yet moved from JNNC campus, so you're still on Wi-Fi, and then bus starts moving and it slowly goes out of the campus and your call seamlessly switches from Wi-Fi to cellular without you even knowing that this has happened. Right? So that is what I was talking to Michael when he was giving the talk. My question was in that way that can be switched. So that's possible with OMR, and I'll show you the dashboard. And the background is basically to address the limitations of the traditional TCP that we face. What are the benefits of MPTCP? You can aggregate 2 bandwidths. So for example, if you have one connectivity from BSNL giving 40 Mbps and you have another connectivity from Airtel or Jio giving another 30 Mbps, when you have a high priority event, you could actually aggregate that 40 plus 30 and use all 70 for that important meeting. And then once the meeting is done, you can go back to dividing 40 and 30, 30 for hostels and 40 for the administrative purposes. But now you know that students are on vacation. They are not using the hostel. 30 Mbps is lying idle. You could actually bring that 30, collate with this 40 and use 70 all together using the bandwidth aggregation. So that's possible. And you can always improve your reliability through multiple simultaneous TCP connections, and it adapts to network changes dynamically. Like I said, you can move from one network to another. So we will see some comparisons going forward. So first of all, what does MPTCP router have? How does it work? It has a few important components. The 3 are listed here and there are a few more in the next slide. First of all, the MPTCP protocol is implemented in this router, so you don't need to implement it by yourself. You can actually make use of it the way it is. It automatically aggregates the connection. It also has adaptive routing. That means if something goes wrong on one path, you don't need to do anything manually. It will automatically redirect you to another path. So that has that functionality. It also has aggregation and load balancing. So it also, you can also say that, Wi-Fi and cellular, use Wi-Fi more and cellular less, because you have mobile data which gets over in a day, 1.5 GB limit. So you say prioritize using Wi-Fi more and cellular less, and that's how it can actually do load balancing. You can efficiently distribute the network by telling what you want. If you don't specify anything, by default it will take 50-50. So it will take 50% Wi-Fi, 50% cellular. If you explicitly specify, then it will give more priority to that connection. Okay? And failover support, so automatically switches to other available connections if anyone fails. So that's what I was giving an example of your WhatsApp call. Once your bus starts moving out of the campus of JNNC, automatically you move out of Wi-Fi and switch over to cellular without any manual intervention. Okay? Use cases of Open MPTCP router. So I have one router. If any of you are coming to NITK Suratkal, I can show you. It's a tiny little Raspberry Pi board on which we have installed this router. It's not a huge board. And actually you can put it in your home also. So I have tried this in my home. So I have a 60 Mbps connectivity from a local provider, DNet. And just for the experimental purposes, I said, okay, I have 60 Mbps from DNet and I have mobile data of Jio. So what I did is, I just took a USB tethering. So I just took a data cable and I switched on the USB tethering in my phone, and then I connected that USB cable onto the Raspberry Pi USB port, and now my laptop, which was connected to my home router, had 60 Mbps plus the Jio connectivity together, and I did the speed test. So I was able to, so this is a dynamic, tiny little router that you can plug wherever you want to suddenly increase bandwidth without incurring any cost. Once your event is over, you can take this out and keep it. Or if you want such a thing at your home, you can actually place it. It's free of cost. You just need to buy a Raspberry Pi board, install this, and you are done. You don't need to worry about paying anything to anyone, right? Because it's your connectivity. And a lot of businesses use it. So for example, where high reliability is needed, businesses give multiple connections, so that one fails, another one works. And finally, this is where we are using OMR. So my student is already experimenting with OMR now. I'll explain to you the topology in the next slides. Remote areas means we have picked up right now Agumbe. So when we spoke to the Agumbe Gram Panchayat team, they said that we have cellular towers, but the speed is not sufficient. So that's where we are trying to now deploy Wi-Fi. And then they already have cellular with them. We will be giving Wi-Fi, and then we will be using OMR. So their Wi-Fi which we provide and the cellular which they have, we will combine and try to boost up the internet connectivity for them. So tomorrow on the way back after this, Professor Satyanarayan didn't want us to go back today. He said, you are not going back today. I said, okay, sir, as you say. So we are going to be with him, and tomorrow morning when we head back, me and Michael will be visiting the village in Agumbe where we have to deploy the internet connectivity and then identify 60 hotspots, which will not be done tomorrow, but we will start the discussions. And I'll be visiting again Agumbe to identify what are those 60 spots where we can actually deploy. And we are deploying a community Wi-Fi network. So I'll talk about that later. It's not related to OMR, so I don't want to deviate it. What are the system requirements to get OMR running? You just need any Raspberry Pi. Even if you have an older version of Raspberry Pi, 2, 3, 4 is okay. We have used actually 4B. That is one that we have. Or you could buy any of this. We recently bought a Banana Pi, which is even cheaper, which is just 2,300 rupees. So we got that, and you can just put OMR on top. And these are the other ones that it supports. Any Intel platform, it works. And then we have a switch. It can be a normal switch costing 800 rupees, 500 rupees. That's for the experimental testbed. You don't need this for your home. And then a normal SD card or a USB HDD for Intel-based machine. And Open Multipath Router, the Open Multipath TCP Router OMR, is built on an operating system which is called OpenWRT. I'm not sure whether you people have heard about it, but you know Android is for phones, iOS is for phone. Similarly, for routing and routers, there are dedicated operating systems. Like Cisco has its own operating system. Juniper has its own operating system called Junos. Cisco has iOS, which is different than your Apple iOS. Apple iOS is small I. Cisco iOS is capital I. And that's an operating system made by Cisco. So OpenWRT is an open source Linux-based operating system, freely available. And OMR as a router is built on top of OpenWRT OS. So any OpenWRT based OS is fine. And then you just need to have some images available. I'll show you the links where you can find these images and download. And anybody wants to try these experiments, you can always visit me, and we have a lab where we have set up all these things where we can show it. So you can see this is a setup at home. So where we have a laptop and a phone, and we have taken two modems. Basically, we have two ISPs internet connectivity. We have taken bandwidth of 100 Mbps, peak bandwidth 100 Mbps here, 100 Mbps here. Now, if you use a single ISP, the maximum that you can touch is 100 or maybe a little bit more. They say 100, but they give you up to 110, 115. They give you a little more than what they offer. And similarly, if you just use this one, you will get 110, 115, not more than that. But if you want to aggregate more bandwidth and also ensure reliability, you can actually combine this using MPTCP. So that's what this says. This is whole the MPTCP setup that we have. We have a normal unmanaged L2 switch. So we have this one connectivity here, this connectivity here, and this is the Wi-Fi router here, which is running Open MPTCP. And it will be able to give you more than 200 Mbps because it aggregates both this 100 and 100 together. Right? Okay. Now this is fine. You have this router here that will, so your connectivity from your laptop to this router is a single path. Your mobile to this Open MPTCP router is also single path. But what this router does, it opens multiple paths here. But where do you terminate it? So let's say that you are using a Google Meet application to talk to your teachers or your friends, or you are using Zoom, or you are using Microsoft Teams. Their servers will be here somewhere on the internet. We call them as application servers. But let's say they don't support multiple path functionality. That means Zoom doesn't support, let us say, multipath, or any application that we have doesn't support multipath. Then how will they understand that multiple paths are there? So what we have done is, in the cloud we have set up a VPS, which is called the VPN server, and the multiple path is not from my laptop till the application server. The multiple path is from this OMR router till this VPS in the code. So what happens is I solve the internet connectivity problem at the client side because I am the client. The internet problems that we identify, the speed issues, are mainly at the last mile. Last mile means at the customer. I am the last mile. My phone, my laptop is the last mile. Typically, you wouldn't see internet connectivity issues in the code. So what we have done is we have set up a tiny little VPS server running on the cloud. It terminates multiple paths. Who initiates multiple paths? Multiple paths will be initiated by OMR and they will be terminated here. And we use a normal shadow socks proxy to do that. So what does the shadow socks proxy do? Whenever the packet comes, the shadow socks proxy ensures that the packet is forwarded to this VPS, then it is forwarded to the Zoom application or Microsoft Teams or Google Meet, and on the reverse path, the packet comes here and using multiple paths, it is sent over there. So all these things are easily doable using a GUI using OMR. You don't need to have too much of coding, you don't need to have too much of experience on the Linux kernel. So let me show you the dashboard. So by the way, how to set up cloud VPS? It's just simple. If you just can do a wget, wget is equivalent of your HTTP GET request that you do on the browser. You just do wget using the command line and you can download the Debian. Debian means it is, so you know that Linux kernel has many flavors. So Ubuntu, do you use Ubuntu? Yeah, so Ubuntu for example is a good example of a Debian based OS, right? So we can download Debian based OS here and then you can install OMR locally by using the images which are provided. So this is an official website of OMR which is called Open MPTCP Router, and you can use Ieee or any other tool to copy this image which you downloaded from here. Just copy, you download from this website and put it onto SD card. The moment you put it on the SD card, go to your browser and put 192.168.101 and then the dashboard of OMR would open up directly. So once the dashboard comes, you can actually configure multiple things. So this is how your dashboard looks like. You can tell the server IP. This server IP is the IP address of the server that you set up over here. So this IP address, you have to go and you have to put it over here. Then give the name, any name tag again. This is normal English thing. And next, you can configure what are the kind of WLANs you want. Do you want to combine Ethernet with Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi with cellular, cellular with Ethernet, what combination you want. You can define here and then you can give one as a primary link, second as a secondary link. So it will take primary and then secondary. First it will try communicating on primary. Once a connection is established, it will trigger secondary also and then simultaneously both. And they have a very nice option that I want to show it to you. So this is, so previous one was the first connectivity. You can see WAN means wide area network 1. This is wide area network 2. So you can configure both the interfaces and after that you can pick up what you want. So you can see, if you say WAN 1 multipath is enabled and then WAN 2 you make it as a master, then WAN 1 will be taken as primary and WAN 2 will be taken as secondary. And if you disable multipath, then it will only use single connection. If you use backup, very smart thing happens here when you use backup. When you use backup, if you in the drop down, if you select backup, then it will have two interfaces but it won't use both. It will use only one. But the moment something goes wrong with that one, it switches over to the second one itself and it continues on the second path. But whenever the first path becomes active again, even without you telling, it switches back to the first path. That was the question that I was asking Michael, that I have cellular and I have satellite. So let's say I am driving the car and I am going on off-roading somewhere in the jungle and I have a cellular connectivity SIM in my car and I have a satellite Starlink which is there also in my car. So on the car roof you can put a satellite, the modem of Starlink. I have both, but I want cellular more because satellite is more expensive. So I want to use cellular as much as possible. But whenever cellular goes away, I want to go to satellite without manual intervention. And whenever cellular is again available, I want to leave satellite aside and come to cellular. So that option you can automatically configure using by just selecting backup. But if you select master, then it will use both simultaneously. It will use cellular also, it will use satellite also. And sometimes it can be expensive for you, but you can decide what you want. You want both or you want just one. Okay? So now you can see this is a simple dashboard in OMR. It is showing you that this is a laptop. This is a laptop of my student. And this is the OMR router. And this is the OMR server, which we had put up in Google Cloud Platform, GCP. And we have two connectivity. One is Airtel and one is Jio. We have taken 100 Mbps from both of them. And now some test results. So how do you test the internet speed? What is the way you test it? Louder.
Speed test.
Speed test, right? And exactly that's what we did. Okay? So let me show you some results here. So take a look at it. What is the download speed? 122, 122. And the server that we connected was Airtel server. Okay? So that's 168.1. single test on single ISP. This is another one, the server is Jio, and it was 100 and 115, right? And then we use OMR, and you can see now it's not Airtel, it's not Jio, it is our server which we have configured, which is GCP, and look at the bandwidth, it's crossing 222. So we were able to successfully aggregate that. This is one way you can check your bandwidth was aggregated or not. Another thing is the results that I skipped here. So these are the results. You can see this blue color line is Airtel and green color line is Jio. So you can see both of them are used simultaneously here. So one is for upload and one is for download. There are two total here. If I go next, we have dynamically, so we are using Jio right now, and then we removed Jio and connected Airtel, so you can see it was taking everything from Airtel. So you can play around with your Raspberry Pi. You have Raspberry Pi, you have one Jio connectivity, one Airtel connectivity. You can pull off anyone and see whether your Microsoft Teams call continued or whether it got interrupted. So we play around like this. So my student, what he does is, whenever we give demo to somebody, so the person is on MS Teams, we are talking to that person on MS Teams, or we are talking to them on Zoom, and he shows this plot that both of them are simultaneously used. Then he pulls off one and he asks, am I still audible? And they say, yeah, you never went off. And he said, but my one connectivity went off. But I'm still on the another connections, and that's the power that you continue without even the user knowing that one of the network has failed. Okay. So yeah, these are some plots. Now I will show you one small video. So can somebody help me just playing that video in that, and you can. So I'll show you what we have done. We have taken a sample movie clip, and we run it once with normal MPTCP, a normal TCP, single path, and we run with multipath. When we ran with multipath, that video completed its playing back 1 minute earlier than the normal TCP. So if you watch the same video over TCP and watch the same video over multipath TCP, your video watching time reduces by 1 minute. The other one has more disruption, so it causes more problems. Yeah, so you can see we are triggering the experiment here. Once he triggers the experiment, you will see Windows Media Player pop up, and you can see now there are two of them, right? And both of their timings you can see have started, so wait a while. This is normal TCP, you can see here. The name, it's an MPD file which is normal TCP, and this one is an MPD file which says MPTCP. It's the exact same video file transmitted over single path and transmitted over multiple paths, separate experiments. But we have put them side by side to show how exactly it goes. And I'm not sure it should pop up by now. Is it popping up there? So you can see TCP connection had started sooner. That's because we had started TCP experiment first. Now you can take a look at the left and the right as the video progresses, and you can see how the right one will overtake the left one in playback, and the right one will be more smooth. It's already ahead. And this one is going slow. You can see it is getting stuck again and again. It still has played only 17 seconds of the video, whereas the other one has already played 22 seconds. So to watch this full, you will see that one will complete, and this one will need 1 extra minute altogether to complete. So it's not that the disruptions are not there in MPTCP, but because you have multiple paths, the impact of that disruption is significantly lesser as compared to the left one. So you can see that also is getting stuck. This one is also getting stuck, but that it gets stuck, it moves. This one remains stuck for a long amount of time. You can see that one is also getting stuck, but you can see it's acceptable limits, it's tolerable. This one is kind of quite irritating. It's just getting stuck at one image, not moving ahead after that, right? Yeah, you can see already the difference of 1 minute has popped up. You can see this one has reached 143, this one is at 46. So this whole setup, this whole experiment was done by our team, and that's where we was using OMR and trying to showcase to some of the people that this is the impact of it. You can pause that. Yeah. So that's it from my side. I'm done with my presentation. I hope I didn't take more time. I'm on time, half an hour, 40 minutes done. Great. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them and see if I can answer. Otherwise, I'm already available. Yes, Michael. Yeah. Oh, we don't do anything with UDP for now. We are actually exploring Mpcit. So the good thing about Mpcit is, well, I can say the good thing about this one first. The good thing about this one is that it's available in the kernel. So MPTCP is already supported. If they have Ubuntu operating system right now in their labs, if they are using Ubuntu for experimentation on the lab, they already have MPTCP inbuilt. But Mpcit, the thing is, Quick is a user space library, so it can run on Windows also. But MPTCP currently we can't try running on Windows at all because Windows doesn't have multipath TCP functionality. So these experiments were done on Ubuntu. For the UDP part, we are repeating the same experiment. We are doing it on Windows intentionally because we were able to do on Linux this setup. We are using PicoQuick library currently. And the idea is to replicate the same experiment on Windows. But there is another catch. You saw that there were disruptions in the video. Those disruptions were manually added by us by using the NetM tool in the kernel. Because NetM gives me APIs that I can manually introduce an error into the network. So even if the network does not have any error, I can drop the packets intentionally to create an error. But I'm not finding a similar library in Windows that allows me to, control the packet or drop the packet. So what I did in NetM is I even duplicated the packet. So I had one packet, multiple copies created and sent at random time to see how server handles duplicate packets. So if a duplicate packet comes, server is supposed to discard it. So that I tried. We reordered the packet. So let's say I send packet number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then let's say 5 and 6 go out of order and go after 10. And how is reordering handled? So that's all possible in kernel, Linux kernel very easily. We are not able to induce error in Windows experiment. And if you don't induce error, then TCP and multipath TCP will look alike. Or Quick, a normal UDP Quick and Mpcit will look same. So I'm not able to differentiate between multipath advantages and single path disadvantage because I'm not able to emulate that feature in Windows properly. But PicoQuick is already working. We have already run multipath using PicoQuick. We also met the developers of PicoQuick. They were there. Utema was there in Dublin hackathon. And the PicoQuick library is actually very good. So we are trying it on Windows. It runs on Linux also, but Linux we already have better thing. So yes, multipath quick is what our solution is for the UDP part. But by the way, just to explain, you open that PPT 1 minute. About your question on UDP, if I'm using OMR, I don't need to worry about it. I need multipath quick only if I want to do multipath aggregation right from my phone. Currently, I'm not doing multipath aggregation at the phone. I'm doing it as an internet. Yeah. So we have. So if I use this diagram, you can use any traffic here, UDP, and that would be encapsulated in a open MPTCP connection till.
Oh, you have that.
We have that. Yes. Oh yeah. That's, so if you are saying in this setup, if I use UDP, I don't need a Mpcit library.
Okay.
So this can be, this can be any application, file download or a normal UDP DNS query, and I could actually do, but multipath is not required for DNS queries. DNS queries don't need throughput, but any UDP-based application will be aggregated here by tunneling inside the MPTCP connection, and then that encapsulated UDP packet goes till here, and then to rip off the headers of MPTCP. The TCP headers, and then the UDP one goes to the rest of the network. So if that was the question, then yeah, we don't need to, it is protocol agnostic. This solution is protocol agnostic, and that's why we we are suggesting to deploy this in the village so that we don't have to worry about two libraries and we don't
want to give two connections on the phone to the people in the village. We want to give them a protocol agnostic solution, so because they might not be tech savvy, they might not know all of this. They want internet to work and break less often. That's what they want. So this is a. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Please sit. Yeah.
I am a newbie to this all technology thing. Since you mentioned about the speed test and all those stuff, I observed a thing where when you use the individual network or server like Airtel or Jio, you were getting the latency or the ping of 17 milliseconds.
Yeah. Yes.
A single one was 17 milliseconds,
yes.
Next was 25. Total together when you use both the servers and you got 38 milliseconds. So if I understand in a very surfacial and low level, I might be conceptually totally wrong. I don't know.
No problem. Yeah, shoot the question.
But see, the ping, what I understand is time taken to respond by, or the time which is required to get the network from the server to our devices, basically. So if we are using an individual network and we are getting 17 milliseconds and 25 milliseconds, when we use both of them together and both the things are happening simultaneously. So the result should be either of these two, right? Not somewhere above these or somewhere below this might be there. So I would be more convinced if I see the ping as 17 milliseconds because 17 was by 1 and
yes.
other is 25. It should be either of two because everything is happening simultaneously. Where does this new number of 38 milliseconds pop up? This
why is it coming as a 38 number? Sure.
Mainly arose because these network people market the network speeds and all this stuff based on gaming only these days.
Correct.
And internet usage has explicitly increased because of the increasing gaming trends in whatever happening in India. So people would more concentrate on ping. I didn't understand that. I might be conceptually wrong.
No. Your question is fair. Your question is why don't I get low latency on that, right? So see, there are two things. Number one, one single-handed ping has been shown in this result. I would recommend you ping multiple times and take an average. This is a standalone thing to show because the whole purpose of this talk was to aggregate multiple connections. The idea was not to give you the lowest possible latency in that. The idea was to show that you can aggregate two bandwidths together and then try to increase your throughput for connectivity where throughput is not sufficient. Latency is a different ballgame. Latency has a different altogether calculation. However, in this example, if I would run this ping, let's say the first example here, if I run, you can see this is also idealistic. 17 download, 17 upload. You wouldn't see this every time. If I run the same experiment again on this connection, this 17 would become 90, would become 200, because your ping depends on the way the packet was routed at that particular point of time. So you got 17, you are lucky you got routed pretty soon. And it also depends on the geographical location of the ping. So for example, I hit the IP address of the
Airtel here. Next time when I ping, it might actually go to another server of Airtel. Right? It doesn't have to be always the same server because I don't control the route.
It takes the routing algorithm by itself as to find the nearest server. The nearest server is found based on the load on that server. So this time I got this IP, my packet got routed there, I got 17. The ideal thing would be to do is to run this ping on Airtel itself at least 20-25 times and take a spreadsheet and put the upload, download, ping latencies that you get, also note down the throughput that you get, and then go to Jio and do the same thing with Jio, run 20-25 times the ping and then put them in a spreadsheet. And now you go to an aggregated connection and then do it, and then your expectations would match at that point of time. Because you are not then taking value of only one server that you communicated from Airtel or Jio, right? You are calculating values with random 25 samples, 20-25 samples, and then you take an average latency, and then you would see that multi-part TCP helps over there. However, having said that, there is one more thing to be taken care of, that now you have an additional device in between, and I'll tell you another reason that why you can expect a little bit of increase in the latency.
It's because this is running on a
Raspberry Pi 4 device. So if Raspberry Pi is going to handle my entire video stream, you can imagine, so our Raspberry Pi used to literally get hot because it doesn't have proper heat dissipation fan. So if you replace this Raspberry Pi with a more powerful device where processing can be handled, because Raspberry Pi's RAM capacity and processing capacity is very low. So in the individual connections, we don't have Raspberry Pi in between. One device itself is not there in between. So now when I add an additional device for experimental purposes, and that to a very slow, minute device, you actually can see that it's impacting the latency, right? So that's another processing overhead that gets added to the whole part. But yeah, it's a good observation that why I would expect the latency to be better. But then, as I said, our focus is currently, we don't have great throughput. Let's get that first in those remote areas. Then try to see, okay, now throughput is good. Can we now bring down latency? But then, of course, when you have multiple paths, failover latency will be much lesser. So for example, you saw that small video clip where some packets were dropped intentionally by us. For them to be rerouted all through on the same path was taking a longer time, but if you had an alternate path, it just took. So now you can take that as a metric to understand that the latency is reduced over there. Does it help answer your question? Good. Good question. Any other questions? Yes, you can. You can actually, so this is agnostic to any technology that you use. So we have also tried one thing, so all the credits for all this work that you see goes to Abdul. Abdul is from Department of Metallurgy and Materials Engineering at NITK. He is not a computer science or anywhere related to computer science student. He is not at all into any computer science. He is totally a different branch student, but he works with our team because he likes computer science, and all this work is being done by him, the packet traces and all, right? So what he has done, we have done Ethernet and Wi-Fi. Ethernet and Wi-Fi, both of college network. Then I randomly asked him a question. I said, okay, Ethernet is fine, Wi-Fi is fine, cellular. So what we did is we just took the data cable and did USB tethering from a phone. So you take a phone, connect the USB cable and put it in the Raspberry Pi. So now cellular. And then we are working with another one company. So they have a satellite link. So we tried with satellite link also. So you can have two Ethernets connecting, aggregation. Two same technologies can be aggregated. Ethernet, if you have two broadband lines, you can actually connect them and aggregate using OMR. You can connect two wireless technologies like Wi-Fi and cellular, or Wi-Fi and satellite, cellular and satellite. You can have one wired, one wireless, anything is fine. So if that will not impact this. This is, so your question. Yes. So you have a captive portal. You have a captive portal in JNNC. So yeah, so we also have same in our college. So yeah, we have to give username and password. You can combine it, but the user doesn't need to know anything about it. So your students, they don't need to know. That's fine. Yeah. Right. So you can do one thing. What you can do is you can have your firewall placed after the router. So in this topology, your firewall should be at this side of this router. So now what happens is it aggregates the connectivity, then crosses your firewall. So if anything is to be dropped in that firewall, the firewall would drop it. And then the firewall passes the packets to here in a multipath fashion. So basically your multiple paths, so the firewall can be put after your multiple paths initiate, one option. Second option is you can cut here itself if you don't want multiple paths to be initiated in the first place. So based on the policy decisions and based on what is more efficient from computation perspective, you could put firewall here and say that, okay, this person is not permitted to access. So they can't even use single connection or multiple connections. And then you can again have a customized firewall rule on the right hand side to make a decision. But point is, your end user wouldn't be impacted based on any configuration that you choose to do. Yeah. All right. Any questions? All right. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
here. He'll be there here to chat with you, whatever the things you want. Okay? Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.